Hello, 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 everyone. How are we all tonight? Hope we are doing good. We're in the on air. If anybody wants to join for that, let's of course share this out. Some of the usual places. After dark, of course, for one. Uh, okay. Okay, so you guys don't want to see that anymore. You guys want to see what I'm going to be drawing, hopefully. So how is everybody tonight? Well, nobody's really here to talk yet, so it is what it is, right? So I finally got page 10 or 11 from Ephraim. He is working on page 13. So we'll show up page 10 or 11, whichever one it is. I'll make sure they're all in the right order in the end. Actually, with only a little bit to go on page, one of the other pages that I was working on, we will obviously be starting to color that page that we got of him tomorrow on Rumble. Hmm. 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 We might have another segment coming up on Sundays. Not sure whether anybody remembers Hillel. We might be beginning together for somewhat of a Bible study, getting some, information on the Old Testament through uh, the eyes of a Jewish person. Probably going to be studying Genesis first. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Us- And you? I am good. I got page 10 or 11 of the Canadian Shield finally. Uh, I think it's being called page 10 right now. I have to make sure of the order based on the script, but that's, good. That should be, I'll be showing that off tomorrow on Rumble, as well as probably starting to color it. The guy's working on page 13. So, that's what? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 page, 10 pages to go. Hopefully he can get them done in like the 6 months that I would like. And I'm not sure what's happening to Dillard. I told him I've got the money for a couple more pages. But I'm way ahead on them. I'm up to like 16 on them. With him doing the next couple pages, that'll be 18. I'm working, Rick. Well, you never got back to me, so I didn't know what to think. John? I know you'll get them done. I'm not worried about that. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I'm ahead on that. Although, probably... yeah, John, what Rick said. I'll probably have to get together with you for concept layouts for, I think, 21, 22, and 23 at some point after 20. Which hopefully I should be able to have those all, well, February, we'll say. By the end of February, hopefully all that money will be there. January, February. And then we'll be saving up again for the Canadian Shield. There's a lot there to save up for the Canadian Shield. I only dipped a couple hundred into it. I'll finish my mailing content. Yeah, you want to come on and show it, or are you just going to DM it to me? On a serious note, John, I think you're a great artist, especially given that you're self-taught. Yeah. Oh, come on. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I say,
Oh, say, can you hear me, boy?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you before.
Can you hear me, Rick?
Yeah. Okay. I can hear you. Can John hear me?
Rick, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I hear you. I hear you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, how do I... John, he hears you. Can you hear me, John? Hello? King Science. Yeah. Okay, John, you're muted. Oh, I know why you can't hear me. Duh. Uh, hello, John, can you hear me now? He went away. Crap. I know why you couldn't hear me. I had it on push to talk. I forgot about it. I had it on push to talk for last week when... No, it wasn't your fault, John. I had it on push to talk from being on John and Quarter last Thursday. Forgot to switch it back to talking. You should be able to hear me now. Hello, John. Can you hear me? John? John? Oh.
Yeah, I
Hello?
can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I can't be on too long. I just got a phone call. I got to go inside and help with the kids. But I do want to show my piece. I think it came out really nice. It has to be in grayscale or black and white. Can you hear me, Rick?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just trying to get Discord to work right.
Okay, so here's the piece here.
Oh, really cool. Let's see whether we can get everything else to see this.
Hello, can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just trying to figure out why it's not showing on thing. Let's see. Let's take Discord out and put Discord back in. Display capture. Window capture. I thought that was new. Okay, let's see. Blink twice if you can hear. Let's see. Okay, there, everybody can see it now. What does everybody think of John's nice piece of artwork?
This is a show, Rick. What do you think of it?
Oh, I like it a lot.
So basically, I just gave it a Dutch angle. This is how it, if it was with eye level, it should be about like this.
Yeah.
So he's just running after and fighting a snow crab, an abominable snow crab.
That sounds like it'd be no good at all.
I'll make it bigger so you can kind of get a better look at it. There we go.
Jeff Potts says, "Whoa."
I haven't got to draw anything with like actual shading in so long. It's always like, line art and stuff.
Yeah. So I guess a bunch of your stuff was on hold for your drawing stuff while doing this.
Yeah, this took me all day long.
Oh, you did that just today?
Well, I started it yesterday, and then I did about 3 hours yesterday, and then I spent about another 8 hours today to finishing it.
Oh, wow. And have you put it in yet, or?
Nope. I'm gonna put it in 5 minutes before the deadline.
And when is the deadline? Do you know? Remember?
Tomorrow at 9 p.m.
And why are you going to
My
put it
time.
in? Why are you going to put it in 5 minutes before the end?
I don't want people to like see it and then go back and try to make theirs a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's some pieces like I'm probably not gonna win. There's some really dynamic stuff out there, especially when it comes to composition. Like Narwhal's composition is fantastic. He's a fantastic composition artist. There's a couple of other ones that are pretty good. So like I'm not sure I'm gonna win, but I don't want to take any chances.
Yeah. You want to try and
I don't know.
make
I
sure
might throw it
you
up on Twitter tonight.
put it up in the. You
Who
want to be in
knows?
the top 5 for sure. I'm sure you'd be in the top 5 anyways. Maybe the top 3.
Oh,
But
I hope
they
so.
don't. Top 3 doesn't win unless you're in first place. So, right?
That's right. So who knows? You know what? I might actually just throw this out there just to see the reaction. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? But first, I got to save it. So let me go and save it before I ruin everything.
Yeah, forget to save it, and your computer crashes, and all that work for nothing. Hey, you go.
Yep.
Where should I go?
You know what? Let's. I'm gonna actually go inside right now and go help with the kids.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna go and throw this up, and then I can just let it simmer on Twitter for a while and see if I get any responses, interesting comments. It'll be nice to come back to a surprise.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Put something up and then, come back. Hopefully, get some sort of response.
Let's see, Twitter. Oh Nasser's doing his closeout stream right now.
Are you gonna go bother him later?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, tweet.
Tweet,
And I can
tweet.
put there my. Oh, let me use two hands here instead. My official entry into the on Malin drawing contest. I present for your viewing pleasure Romulus versus the abominable snow crab.
Romulus versus the abominable snow crab.
Is that how it's spelled? Let me open up a new tab and make sure that's how he spells his character's name.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to spell it wrong, right? Get disqualified for something like
Yeah,
that.
that's correct. And I put hashtag godlike art contest
Eagle
and
says
then hashtag.
Eagle says hello, and Jeff Pot says that's a kill crab. That crab's a killer.
That's right.
He's being framed by Santa.
Now let me not do what I normally do, and don't include the picture in there. Let me actually include the picture this time.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. Do all the setup for the picture, and then forget to put the picture. It's like, oh God, really? I forgot to put the picture. All that, I forgot to put the picture.
All right, and it's been tweeted. There we go.
It's been
All right,
Twittered.
Rick, I'm gonna go inside and it's been twittered. I'm gonna go inside
Okay.
and do this, and maybe if you're still on when I get finished, maybe there's not too much going on in there, and then I'll be back soon. Who knows?
Who knows? Okay. I may or
All
not
right, later
be
on.
here.
And bye, everybody in the chat.
Yeah, which is Jeff and Eagle.
Don't forget to go into Twitter and like my drawing.
Here, I'll do that right now. Okay, don't mind me, guys. I'm just writing a quick tweet to someone. Hey, Lorenzo. Diller gave the crab hair on my shirt. No, not quite. I'm actually texting to somebody that most of us haven't seen in a long time. Some of you may or may not know. You may or may come on. I'm not sure. No, Lorenzo. Uh, did this guy time me out ever? No. So, event or model? No. No. No to Lorenzo and no to both on Eagle. No, Lorenzo again. You guys are just trying to guess. I'm not sure whether I should tell you or just let you keep guess because it's sort of fun seeing you guys guess. I wish. I think, Lorenzo. No. I'm starting to get scared. I think that'd be impossible, Lorenzo. Oh, one of the guests I don't like. I think you like this guest when he was on. Eagle. Count Dracula. No, definitely not. I don't like Wolverine. Oh, I don't think so. Pinocchio, the guy with the snail character. That would be Pixel Trader, and no. No to Mallet. Oh, hey, Clownfish, it's the one down the on air, not the cross radio. Hey, Marsupio, does he have a comment? No, not Sergeant Slaughter, not Pinocchio. He wants to have a comment. Clownfish, can you hear me? I wish, Lorenzo. And no, 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 no. Clownfish. Okay, cool. I can hear you. I can't talk. Uh, go. Okay, go into on air one below. See where it says on air? Below cross radio, below my name. Okay, we got you in the right spot. Now we just need to get your mic working. Oh, I thought I heard something. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great.
It's been so long. And for everybody
I
that
know.
doesn't know, we have Hillel here with me, all the way from Israel.
Hello. I. Do you have a video? Do you have video on
Yeah,
or something? Or how
I'm doing a YouTube. Oh, I can put my
Oh,
video.
okay.
but they everybody on YouTube can hear you. But if you had something to show, I could show it. But you know, I would just show you how easy Discord fairly works. You know, for
Okay. Well, obviously, I'll have to play with it because I obviously do not know what I am doing. But that's
yeah.
kind of neat.
So how have you been? I hear, especially with all the nonsense that's going on in the world. I hear Israel got hit really bad with it.
With what are you talking about in
With
particular?
restrictions and all that, with the coup.
Oh, you for COVID?
Yeah.
Oh well, I couldn't go into a burger place the other day because I haven't had my third shot.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I know you
it,
guys are up to like your fourth shot, and you're like, if you even if you haven't had it, it's like you're not even vaxxed. We're the I didn't get the vax myself because I think it's nonsense, but
well,
I know your government is really enforcing it, shall we say?
yeah, they from the very beginning they've been very much about enforcing it. We had some very strict lockdowns, but we also had I guess they managed to I guess contain it better, if you will. Um, but I live in the area of Israel called Pardes Hana, and here it's kind of a big hippie community. So a lot of people here don't haven't gotten the vax. So we've gone from orange and yellow. I mean, sorry, orange and red, sort of gone between the two standings here. But yeah, funnily enough, I just started going to a thing called HEMA, the Historical European Martial Arts. It's a sword fighting club.
Oh,
And
cool.
what do you need sword fighting in this day and age, you might ask? Well, ask the Highlanders. Why do they need swords? You know, you never know when you're going to find yourself accosted by an immortal and you chop off somebody's head.
Hey, why do
So
you need to learn sword fighting if you're going to Britain? You can't have a gun.
that's true. That's true. You know,
Although they're
you know,
slowly taking away the knives there too. So
well, you can't walk into a place. You can't use go into stores and different places and have a knife. They always ask you, "Do you have a knife? Do you have a weapon of some sort?" It's like, no. And they search your bags before you go into like malls and things like that. So
they
they
have
want
that. They have that there, or is that in Britain?
have what there? You mean
The knife thing and all that.
oh, we've had when I first moved to Israel, like 6 or 7 years, about 6 years ago. We had what was called the knife intifada, and the Arabs were going around knifing people all over Israel. And so uh, that's just to show how effective our walling in Gaza has been. It used to be they blew people up. I had a friend of mine who was in a cafe about 20 years ago, and he was at the back, and a suicide bomber went off, and uh, we haven't had the big problem with suicide bombers since they
Yeah.
walled off Gaza. But they do different things. One of the things they're doing right now from Gaza is they'll launch balloons with kid toys attached,
Yeah,
and
might have heard of that.
yeah, it's pretty horrendous. Like it's a really sick mentality. That you're going after, you're trying to harm whoever you can, like kids. They of course have been doing they've built the tunnels. Hamas gets like millions of dollars a year in foreign aid, and they use a lot of it just to create weapons or opportunities to kill Jews.
Yeah.
And
I'm just gonna
it's
say to Mike in the audience, yeah, I see. Thanks for coming in and dropping the line and saying hi and all that, sharing out all that. Okay, sorry to
it's
say.
all right.
So how's your comic been coming too?
I've been actually focusing more on doing Redbubble right now, designing some T-shirts and things.
Yeah, I've got some stuff over. I've got some stuff on there and Teespring as well.
Yeah, I haven't done Teespring yet. I just started into Redbubble, but no, it's that's going pretty good. Um, I've been enjoying that process of creating different characters, or some of the characters I have, and putting them up there.
Yeah.
I've sold a few things, but I'm pretty much getting started on it. So I haven't sold very much.
Yeah,
But
same here.
it's like I think it's just more like a hobby income.
Well, if you could get, a good audience, build an audience for that sort of thing, it's good,
Sure.
you know. But the thing is the building the hard part. Oh, I know you purchased like the digital for the Canadian Shield. Were you able to get it downloaded?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually impressed. I was really surprised. I was like, wow, you did a pretty good job on it. Like the artwork was like a lot, like I could tell you really improved quite a bit.
Well,
And
John Dillard, I think he helped
sure.
improve my inks on it. He beefed up my inks on it. Pope Raven, if you remember him, he did the colors.
Sure, of course.
And I'm actually working on number 2 of it, and my next character, Snowdrift, number 1. Hopefully in June I will be doing a crowdfunding for that.
Cool. Yeah, I think I got that like a year ago. Hasn't it been like a year?
Yeah,
Since
over a year. Over a year. I did.
Okay,
I
yeah,
even did a coloring book.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I had some problems in getting the money from Indiegogo, so I had to do some sort of test project, to figure out an easy way. Well, I raised the money initially for the Canadian Shield in like American funds, and I had a hard time getting it. So I did thought up the coloring book, an easy project, and I just raised the funds in Canadian dollars in that, and I got the money no problem. So.
Oh, okay. Well, great. I did some free coloring pages for Hanukkah last year, and then I sent them out again this year. Yeah, people really enjoy the coloring pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's nice. I don't know. I thought wow, I was really impressed because you I didn't think you were ever going to do a comic. I thought you were just going to do pinups all the time, and I was really impressed that you had actually done a comic. That's great.
Yeah, well, that's always been my dream to do the comic. So I want to own a comic empire, for lack of a better way of saying it.
That's awesome. Yeah, your own comic. I think we all dream of. That's my problem. I dream of a comic empire, but I haven't gotten a comic out yet. I've got so many ideas, but I find that that I've really enjoyed doing like one-offs, like doing like posters where I put a maximum amount of time in and designing products and things like that. Like I think I really enjoy that. And I've done like little 4 and 5 page things. I think what I'm doing is I'm collecting some 4 and 5 page comics, and I'm going to put them together as like a digest. Rather than doing like a 130 page comic, like do a collection of several 5-page comics.
Like an Archie comic.
Something like that, like one of those older comics where they used to, especially because if you're introducing new characters, having a very quick and simple introduction of a character. And so I did it. I've done one for a character named Dr. Immortal, and then I've got a few others. We've got one set I'm working on for a character named Mystery Man, and another for a character named the Blue Diamond. And so I've also written a few like adventure books, and I need to really edit those things. And they've got a character. I've got a character. Wrote 2 books on called The Invincible Hero, and another book called Superhero Gets a Grandpa System. And the Grandpa System one, I got offered a contract by what's it called, web novel, but the terms, I asked one of the editors. I said, it just seems like to me that if I for whatever reason you want to come up for some reason, you could suddenly kick me off my book and take over my IP. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, so why would I want to do a contract with you?
I would definitely want to do that.
Yeah, especially in today's, the ability to have to do self-publishing. I think that's I don't know. The only thing was you get exposure from them, but
Yeah, but you lose creative control because then they've got complete creative control. Because if they don't like something you're doing, they can kick you off your book, your character. It's like, no way.
And then part of the contract was that you couldn't write or create a published book either with that character or whatever for about 2 years. And like going, why would I want to be locked into your company? And I've seen some guys, some authors who've worked for them, like try to break away and then come back, and the reason is because everybody who's reading their book is on that service, and they're it's hard to get them to leave it. So I'm just thinking about taking those 3 books. I got 4 or 5. I got another 4th and a 5th one, I think, as well. But all of them need a lot of work and need a lot of editing, and so much so that if I took the first book of Invincible Hero, I could probably take it and turn it into another book or 2. And I combined. I put too much stuff together. I wrote it in like a stream of consciousness over the course of like a month, and I was surprised to see that I could write a complete novel in a month, even if it was just a rough draft. And but surprisingly, I was, and I spent like a summer. Over the summer, I wrote like 5,000 words a day, and I was really surprised. And so I wrote the second part, and it took me longer the second part because I got lazier on writing it. And then I started the third volume, but I was like, why am I writing
the second part's longer, and you got lazier?
The second part. No, the second part took me longer to do because I got lazier. That was
took you longer.
It's the same length. It's the same length. They were both 100,000 words.
Cool.
So
Lorenzo in this chat says, "I'm glad Hello was able to come on Rick's show tonight. I am too. We actually might be doing I'm not sure whether we're just going to record it or whatever, a show soon together on Genesis, or maybe other books too, in the Old Testament or the Torah, depending on who's
propaganda you want to use, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with doing like a general show. I haven't messed with setting something like this up, so we might have to talk so I can set it up. But
yeah,
my plan is to whatever the class we do on Genesis, to take that and put it on YouTube, and that way people can go to it. I actually started doing this. You remember a year or two ago I was doing this.
Yeah, actually I think it was more like 3 years ago. Yeah, I was looking
You're
for
not right.
one of the first ones where you said about, it was Adam and Eve were still in the garden. You were saying about the voice walking with them, because I wanted to share that with a friend, and it's like, oh, crud, it's not on his channel anymore.
Well,
because
yeah,
that really spoke to me. It really, because there's I know you probably don't know much about the New Testament, but there's a couple verses right in the beginning of John. Um, it says, "In the beginning, the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and nothing through Him was made." Blah blah blah, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. So word, voice,
well, the interesting thing is that the Torah does this on a number of occasions where you have an action that you'd observe with one sense happening, with a different one, and there's a term for that. And the idea is really, if you read the Rambam, who's a famous Jewish writer, he's called in the Greek, the philosophers call him Maimonides, and he's famous in the Western world, secular world, for his writings on philosophy, or the guide for the perplexed. But in the Jewish world, that's not what he's celebrated for the most. It's actually his books, the Mishnah Torah, and whatnot. It's a law code. Um, but he writes in the Guide for Perplexed, I believe, that um, he writes on the importance of the absolute monotheism of Judaism, and that's in that conceptualizing God as having a body is a big problem in Judaism, and so sometimes using this terminology either as a result of the event of communicating with God being so overwhelming that it confuses your senses, and or being that ultimately the Torah is not trying to say God has a body, and therefore using terminology that seems to go against what we understand. So having the voice walk through the Garden of Eden is pretty typical, because a lot of times you find out with, for example, the Shekinah glory and different things like that these are not in fact God. These are the Ruach HaKodesh, the like the wind of God. I think you call it like Holy Spirit, but
yeah.
it's not really a person. I think Christianity has it as a person. Ruach HaKodesh is really more along the lines of being like the active will of God, if you will.
Yeah.
Just if I were to blow my breath to move a piece of
Yeah.
paper,
And
I
so,
would say that.
and I get the Trinity, and I get where people get it. I think in a lot of ways, the Son and all that, it's a way to
Mhm.
relate. Even us as people, were multi-personed, if you will. You can be a father, son. Different roles that you act in, and calling different aspects of God different ways. It's a way for God to relate to us in our limited human mind.
Yeah, and that's definitely been one of the ways that Christians argue. Jews are like are very strict monotheists, so we wouldn't accept something like that, because if you read Thomas Aquinas, he talks about it being like these are sort of representative of the unique attributes of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and he says that why do we limit ourselves to three attributes? And he says because that's a result of church scripture. I'm sorry, church tradition. Um, because attributes can actually be potentially infinite. But for us, the Rambam actually talks against. I hope this isn't boring anybody. This is just.
No,
Uh,
well, in a lot of ways, this is probably stuff that I'd like to talk about when we get together. Depending on, wherever it leads. I'd like to, like I said, start in Genesis and all that. Go through that a little bit,
Sure.
You know.
It's interesting, the whole I feel like that a lot of people who read like the English version of the Torah are really missing out,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of extremely interesting things there, that you just don't get to see in English.
there's a lot
Um,
lost in translation, and unfortunately,
well,
there's a lot lost in culture, for lack of a better way of saying. Like
sure.
depending on like say the New Testament, that was written to first century Jews, so they had a different culture than we do here in North America, and trying to interpret it through a North American culture when it was first century Jews that were writing it is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, you have to have a background in sort of like Mishnaic thinking, and Mishnaic is a documents of the oral tradition collected in the first century, and uh, these are a person who came from the era. That was around the era of that Jesus would be in.
Yeah,
So you have to understand. You have to understand some of that thinking, and we learned the Talmud, which contains the Mishnah and the Gemara, and so the Mishnah are writings from around that time. Well, some of them go back to the revelation at Mount Sinai, and some of them are
yeah,
legal
yeah,
discourses from Sinai till today. And but these were questions that were being hotly debated in that time, and so I'm familiar with some things in the New Testament. And I know that some of the things that Jesus gets on about, some of them are actually legal debates that were actually going on at the time, and which is interesting. Like I haven't. It's been a while since I've looked at some of that stuff, but there are certain things where it makes a challenge, and yet I think some of those challenges were actually leveled in the Mishnah. Some of those things were talked about, and in that time there were no conclusions to the debate. Post that period, there have been conclusions to some of those legal questions that were discussed. So I don't know where he would fall out on some of those conclusions, but looking at just Genesis. Genesis is named that, and I guess Genesis is I'm not sure if it's a Greek word or a Latin word, but it basically means like origin. And the reason it's called that is because the first word in the Torah is Bereshit, and that gets translated as in the beginning. But actually, that's not a good translation for the word, or it's not an appropriate translation. But it may be the best translation, but it's not an appropriate translation. And the reason why is Bereshit doesn't mean in the beginning. Reshit doesn't mean in the beginning. If you want to say in the beginning of something, you say Berosh Hashanah. So we have Berosh Hashanah, and they have the same root, Rosh, which is head, which can also mean like a beginning. But Rosh Hashanah you would write that if you meant like in the beginning, in the very beginning, like in a point of time. But Reshit, you have examples of this throughout the Hebrew scriptures where it means something. It would be translated more like in the beginning of something. In the beginning of God's of Hezekiah's ruling of Israel, for example. That's how you would say it. So it's actually a different term. The problem is that if you try to read that into the very first pasuk or verse of the Torah, they say Bereshit bara Elokim ve'eshamayim ve'haaretz, and they're getting God created the heavens and the earth. If you try to translate that then word for word, you get in the beginning of God created the heavens and the earth. and so there seems to be a missing word.
Could be
And so
universe in the beginning of the universe, in the beginning of time.
This is the interesting thing is that a lot of rabbis have written on this, and it's there's a debate on how do you
fill in that
solve
word.
that issue. Yeah, how do you feel? Can you fill in that word? Is it proper to fill in that word? What word would you pick? And the rabbis don't generally like it, so they come up with various things, like you said at the beginning of. So Rashi says he's a commentator on the Torah, and he says that if you're looking for just the simple meaning of the text, then you would translate something along the lines of, "In the beginning of God's creating the heavens and the earth." But grammatically, to say that, you have to change the word bara into bore, and that's not what that word says. So it's a very interesting problem, and there's some interesting solutions, and it's very interesting. Let me ask you a question. What day was water created on?
Was it the first or second? I'm trying to remember my day on the day. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. They were formless and void. And He separated the waters from the waters.
You're skipping there, because it says the earth was.
Yeah. I'm repeating it in our thing, and I like I said, but maybe I'm remembering a little bit off. So
well, it goes in the earth was filled was tov v'bohu, and it said the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep. So the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep. So when was water created? Because then we go into there'll be light on the first day, separated from the light and the darkness, and the second day we have separated from the seas and the land, which carries over to day 3. We're never told when water's created.
Yeah.
And we it's there somehow, mysteriously, and you have to understand that Jews, we believe in a creation from nothing, creation ex nihilo. So we certainly believe water was created.
Yeah, well,
but
I'd say probably Christians and Jews believe the same, or most Christians believe the same. That everything, God created everything from nothing.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty big point that Jews and Christians share in common is the idea of creation ex nihilo. But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that would reason because if in the New Testament, obviously Christianity came out of Judaism, so it would go to figure that we have a lot of the same beliefs. It's what our belief usually on Christ is what is the big difference between us.
Yeah, there are a lot of theological differences between Jews and Christians. It comes down to one, you guys have an extra set of books from us, and,
yeah,
and then also, like, some of your definitions of things are different. So, for example, your definition of Messiah, Mashiach, as we say in Hebrew, is very different from our concept of Mashiach. So, when we talk about Messiah, we're talking about two different people.
Yeah.
But it comes to something like Genesis. Of course, you have people there. You have the controversy of a young Earth versus old Earth in Christianity. I remember some Christian friends in college. They had this dilemma a lot.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm not sure whether there's that debate Judaism, but the only reason the debate is there here in Christianity is because some Christians would rather believe science than God.
Well, there's nothing wrong with believing science where science is applicable or whatever else.
Oh yeah, I agree, but if science tells you one thing and God tells you another,
yeah, you definitely at some point you have to make a decision on what you prefer to listen to. But my whole point in bringing this up was to say that we don't have a when you use Genesis to establish a day-by-day process so that you can then say, well, we know exactly when everything happened and this is the order it happened in. There's some problems with that, and the problem is that Genesis doesn't talk about the creation of water. So there's some things that have gone on, or there's a way of reading that where it's not as obvious.
yeah.
I think sometimes Christians make it like it's
Well, it doesn't even talk about the creation of angels, but we know they exist, right?
Sure, exactly. Well, that's the point. So sometimes when I hear people getting into these knockdown, drag-out fights over science and the Torah and whatever else, the problem is that they're not even clear on where some of the things they believe are coming from.
Yeah.
And with when you get into science and Torah, how long did it take to how how was it 6 days or was it billions of years or how long did all these things take, yada yada yada. I think sometimes people start asking the wrong kinds of questions.
Yeah.
And you have to just go back and look at the text and say, well, what does the text say? And the text says some very surprising things, especially that first chapter. It's very strange. And then we have the question is, are there two creation accounts or whatever? Yeah.
It's just Lorenzo says Jewish popular. He said this about 5 minutes ago. It says Jewish Publisher Society's Tanaka translation reads when God began to create heaven and earth. Eagles putting a Canadian flag on it. Said, did they say Halo? No, we didn't say Halo. And then Lorenzo says some Bible scholars say the waters is the reference to the Canaanite god Yam being split by God and his body being used to create the world. Okay, those would be weird biblical scholars.
Biblical scholars, you have to take the word scholars and put it in quotation marks sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a tendency among secular people who study the Bible or make comments on it to want to tie Judaism to the other belief systems that surrounded them. So, for example, Baal worship and Canaanite worship of gods and the mythologies that come along with those. And the problem is that to do that, one, the Jewish cosmology is so much more sophisticated than their neighbors.
Yeah.
It would be like walking into a village, and you've got like a group of kids, like 5 years old, and all the 5-year-olds are working on their alphabet, and then you've got one kid who's giving a dissertation on quantum physics, and that's the difference between the pagan cosmologies versus the Jewish cosmologies.
Yeah.
And you also have the commentary in the Tanakh or the Hebrew scriptures themselves that discuss idolatry was definitely a problem for the Jewish people. And they fought against it. And you have, like for example, Malachim, Kings, where Elijah is confronted with the worshippers of Baal, and the problem was there were a lot of Jews who had taken on that Baal worship. So sometimes they say stuff. Sometimes these scholars say stuff is like, well, no duh. Some of that was in the Bible. We already know about this, and there's no mystery to it. We know that they were influenced in those areas. Yeah. there's being influenced, and then there's also having your own thing that's actually poor quality. Like, you've got the different flood accounts in different societies,
Yeah.
and but they're very different. Like if you read the Sumerian flood account, the gods flood the earth, kill all human beings, but then regret it because they suddenly they're starving now. They don't have anybody to feed them. That's much different than the account
Yeah.
from Noah, which is there's a reason for having that flood is that has nothing to do with God. God's fine no matter what. But I find this. But as far as his comment about JPS, the JPS Tanakh, Tanakh is what we call the Old Testament. It stands for Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, which is the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses.
Yeah.
The Nevi'im is the prophets, and then the Ketuvim are like the writings, like Psalms and Proverbs and Daniel and Ruth and things like that. But JPS also one of their favorite comments to make on any one verse. I can almost like 90% of the time tell you exactly what the JPS comment is going to be on a verse, and that comment is going to be indentation not known. I.e., we don't know how to translate this.
Oh, let's see. Lorenzo says, so separating the waters could be God slaying the Canaanite sea god. Actually, I'd say no, because you can't have the Canaanite sea god before the Canaanites are there. And there's only one God, and the Canaanite sea god would most likely be a demon, a devil, however you want to describe it. A fallen angel posing as a god, as I would say, anyways. And Eagles tell us about the flood. You were talking just a little bit about that. Although that's something we'll probably would. Oh, he says Canaanite. Well, still Canaanite, Canaanite, same difference.
I was trying to remember I was thinking what the ancient people, the Canaanites. I've never heard of these people. Who's he talking about? So he meant Canaanites. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I probably thought he did, but I figured I'd say it the way I thought. And Eagle cries for whatever reason.
I think what happened is you got confused. You're like, how can I get some cash tonight? And that became a new people in the ancient world, the Canaanites. That's probably what happened. No, but it's funny. Like I mean, we can read anything we want to, any work we want to, and you can say, well, this is a metaphor for this, or this is a metaphor for that, and there are definitely metaphors in the Torah. In fact, we actually, when we read our scriptures in the Torah, we have 4 levels of interpretation, and those peshat, which is like the simple, sort of straightforward. What is the author trying to communicate to me? The remez, like the hidden stuff, drosh, allegorical teachings, and then sof, which is like the hidden mystical teachings. And so, but you got to know what ball field you're playing in, because there are different rules for each form of interpretation.
Yeah, heck, I would say probably even the New Testament scriptures should probably be interpreted that way, because they're written by the same people.
I have heard someone make a similar argument that there are different levels of interpretation of the Synoptic Gospels. But I don't know. I've never really researched that, so I couldn't tell you. But so you have to. People have different agendas when they come to talk about things. Scholars are only good as how secure their jobs are.
Yeah.
And if there's an expectation that if you're a professor, you're putting out books or things that's going to help raise money for the university. And sometimes what that forces you to do is to come up with theories and ideas that maybe you don't even really particularly believe in, but it sounds interesting enough that you can bring in some money to the college.
Yeah, it sounds interesting enough that you can BS your way through it and not lose your job.
Right, and then there are, I mean, there are other considerations. I think there are some people who might genuinely believe that that's correct, but it's always the scholarship is always very poor when you go into these arguments where they try to make these connections with the ancient world's mythologies. The connections are often very weak and problematic. Um, and we can talk about that more later. But uh, if you want to disagree with something, you can come up with an infinite number of possibilities. You can be an irrational skeptic if you want to be.
Yeah.
I say an irrational skeptic. There's being skeptical, which is good, and then there's being irrationally skeptical, which means that, you know, if I can imagine any kind of objection to something, then great, I've found my way out of having to believe that thing.
Yeah,
And
the mental gymnastics that you have to do to actually believe what you're spouting off, you know.
yeah, we all do that. Yeah,
Yeah, we all do it a little bit, you know, do a little bit of mental gymnastics, but there's
that's right.
there's a little bit of mental gymnastics, and then there's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah, it's true. You know, so I just find some of the like I find that a lot of these scholars are tend to be very knowledgeable in like archaeological findings and things like that, but they're very ignorant of what the Bible actually says.
Yeah, I would
And
agree.
you know, and so it's a really kind of funny thing because I've talked to people over the years who read this stuff from these scholars, and they get very swept up into it to the point of saying, well, you know, this is a disproof for the Bible and yada yada yada, but the fact of the matter is that have you really examined what they actually said and the research they did? And I find that in the modern world we have so much access to information, but we just sort of assume that whatever we want to be true is true without looking at the evidence or counter evidence for it.
Yeah.
And so even though we have all this information available to us, very few people actually sit down and take the time to read through it. And I'm not going after Risey or anything here like this. This has just been my I can't tell how much he's doing this tongue in cheek either, but no, I'm just making a comment that in general, what I found with some of these claims when I've gone back and studied them is that they have some very big problems in the scholarship. Just like you have like the documentary hypothesis, the Wellhausian hypothesis with multiple authors in the Torah.
Yeah.
I don't want to bore everybody with that information. I get very interested in this kind of
not
stuff.
so much the Torah, but Genesis.
Yeah.
Because I think most people would say that Moses wrote, you know, Exodus through Deuteronomy. I'm not sure what you call them exactly. Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
Yeah. And this is a discussion that we have, our commentators, we have it in the Talmud and in different places. Does Moses write the entire Torah, or did he write parts of it? Which parts did he write? In fact, I was reading about this. It's just funny that you we're talking about doing a study on Genesis. I was reading I just got a new book with a commentary on Genesis, and the introductory remarks by the commentator, who's about 800 years ago, the 12th or 13th century. He talks about what are some of the theories of who wrote how much of the Torah did Moshe write? How much of it was he just taking notes like a secretary, and how much was it collected through tradition? Because a lot of these stories obviously happened through the course of tradition. He concludes that he wrote the whole thing, but as things happened over the course of 40 years, and so but he wrote it like a secretary. Not so much him writing his own commentary. Like you find in a lot of the prophets where there's a personality to the writing that's supposedly, I guess, that prophet, but the writings of the Torah, even through the majority of Moses' life, it's done in third person, even when it's talking about Moses. So, but anyway,
let's see. Lorenzo
interesting
says
things to talk about.
the book of Genesis literally uses the word Yam, which was the name of the sea and the sea god.
Yom.
You know.
Yes,
Well, I don't know too much about that, but I would still say, you can't have him splitting a god that doesn't exist yet when he's creating it.
Well,
God, if God's the only one around and he's splitting the waters from the waters, he hasn't, unless he's created the angels and that they've rebelled. But I don't think the angels rebelled before Adam and Eve were created.
the word Yom that he's talking about there is means the sea, and it's always referring to the Mediterranean. I guess that he's saying that actually a god named after that, which is fine. So the word Yam is used to refer to the Great Sea, the Mediterranean, and in the creation account we have the waters being divided from the land, and the mythical overlay that you have from like the Canaanites. They see everything as something happening with between the gods.
Yeah.
And you have if you look at Egyptian cosmology, you have the splitting of Osiris, which affects the world. His body being divided affects the world. They actually have their mythology actually discusses the first human, I guess, riding in on a piece of land from the water just sort of appearing out of nowhere, and he's sitting on this piece of ground, and there's a snake next to him. And the name Adam, which is the first human name in there, it's interesting because it can mean human, and it can be a particular name, but it comes from the word Adama, which is ground, because he was taken from the ground.
Yeah.
But you look at some. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. I want to get caught up on the chat. Eagle says, "What's your opinion on mountains being trees?" I think he's just fooling around there. It says, "Oh, wise guy is on. I'll be back." Wait, is Risey here? Did you say Risey earlier?
I said Risey. I meant Lorenzo. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think right before I came in here, I saw a post by Risey, and I had Risey on my brain. So I apologize, Lorenzo. I did not wish to. If you hold him in any particular disdain, to insult you by saying the wrong name.
Jump over the other stuff with Risey being said. Lorenzo says, I don't know why it would be controversial that God would defeat so-called other gods. Oh, God defeating so-called other gods is not controversial, in my opinion. Let's see.
That's not controversial. The controversy is saying that because this is what happens in the Exodus story, is that each of the plagues is actually like God overcoming one of the gods of Egypt. So that's not controversial. The problem is that when these scholars associate the Torah and say that the way that you understand the Torah is really to go back to the Canaanite origins of in their stories and mythologies. And I think what I was taking as controversial was more the idea that these stories came out of those religions.
Yeah.
Whereas,
go ahead.
Whereas I think what happened actually is that I think that you had the tradition, the flood tradition, and the Genesis tradition that existed, and then those pagan cultures took it and just sort of like paganized it, and I think that's where those came from. So I guess that's what I was more speaking to.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's almost identical to God slaying Leviathan, which is also in the Torah. Yeah, well, Leviathan is just most likely a dinosaur, probably a bigger one of the dinosaurs. Uh, we do get a description of Leviathan in the book of Job, or the book of Job. uh, Eagle says Lorenzo should get on and join and argue or discuss. I don't know what's being discussed. And then Eagle says, how advanced is the pre-flood society? I would say probably pretty advanced because you have Adam and Eve basically coming pre-programmed from the hand of God. You know, you got to be pretty smart then. You know, but you know they didn't need some of the things we need today. You know, how much agriculture do you need to feed two people? Eventually, yeah, it's more, but you know, Adam and Eve. You know, and then a lot of the tree, you know, you leave an apple tree, it'll grow, you know. And then you go by when they're going into the promised land, the Israelites, food would probably have been way bigger pre-flood, but then again, humans were possibly bigger pre-flood too. But
You know, a lot of fruits and vegetables over here in Israel, even today, are ginormous compared to what you get in the States. Like if it's the season for that fruit over here, it's huge, and
okay,
it's
yeah,
kind of
like
amazing.
would you have like any maybe examples? Like, do you guys got any like apples over there that you
Yeah, we have
grow?
apples.
Maybe
Some of the
one.
stuff we have are imported. Some of the stuff is grown here.
Well,
I don't know
maybe
where
maybe
our
one day on the show, like when we do that, maybe you can grab an apple that's grown over there, maybe to show a comparison in size,
sure.
or if that's one of the fruits that's bigger, you know, you know, something that you like you said,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
for sure. I can get some of those examples. We're in an interesting time. This year is actually our Shemitah year, and Shemitah is the every 7 years the Jews have to
yeah,
put
the land of
around
the
their
year
tallow,
of rest,
the year of rest, the Shabbat of the land, and
yeah.
so that's what we're doing this year. So this year we have lots of um, rules about how we deal with fruits and vegetables and whatnot. I just throw that in there because I'm actually about to leave in just a few minutes. I have a study partner. We're learning about those laws.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, there's what to talk about with that. It's amazing how just I found the fruits and vegetables much more fragrant over here. They some of them are huge. I think I saw, was it an orange that was almost the size of a grapefruit? I think.
Oh
Um,
wow!
Now
Yeah,
some of them are like regular size. You know, like you have big watermelons, but no bigger. You can find watermelons the same size in the States. There's some that are just like that's a really big, you know, whatever.
yeah.
And
Well, it's
and
because I think of you know when when the Israelites were spying out the land, you know they brought back a cluster of grapes. Now I don't know about you, I can
sure,
rub a cluster of grapes with my hand. It took you know like two people to carry back this cluster of grapes. That speaks to me.
right,
Super huge grapes. Hey, rebellious.
right. Now they
Eagle was saying a lot of people talk about ancient architecture, wondering how they would have created, and some people believing it's pre-flood or pre-flood technology. Yeah, I would probably
like the
agree.
pyramids.
Well, some of the pyramids, yeah, but we know some were created after. Um, but I would even say, you know, the Atlantis mythology might go to pre-flood. You know, like Atlantis, you know, sunken beneath the sea because of their sins. You know, so the world before and that they were highly advanced. You know, so it would it sort of corresponds. You know, because I think the pre-flood world would be fairly advanced, or a lot more advanced than what most people would think. And it was destroyed because of its sins, right? It
Well, spiritually, it was far more advanced spiritually. I don't know as far as technology goes. I don't know how I would demonstrate that or prove that. I know that there are mysteries that we have, like how do they create the pyramids given the technology they had. We could create the pyramids no problem today because we have all these mechanical beasts that we use to move stuff around. But
Yeah, we could create them, but there's a lot of the cuts that they got for the blocks that went in there that and the air tightness that they put them together that we wouldn't be able to get today, from what I get.
yeah, there's something to say that maybe they had an advanced technology. I don't know
Yeah.
about that, but yeah.
Hey, Rebellious, who's on air with me? A friend of mine that's been a friend of the channel for a long time, although I haven't talked to him in quite some time. His name is Hillel, and he is from Israel.
Hello.
Lorenzo says 2,000-year-old dated seeds were recently used to bring a type of date tree back from Judea back from existence.
Yeah, I think I've heard something about that. I don't know for sure, but I might have heard. It could be that I heard something about that, or it could be that hearing what you said caused me to think I heard this probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's some interesting stuff. Israel's extremely interesting. There's also things going on. You take 5 steps and you're walking on history over here.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're walking on history everywhere, but some is more well known.
That's what I'm saying. You take 5 steps, you're walking in history. And the archaeology, the science, and everything that's developed over here. It's an incredible place to live for sure. And the country itself is about the size of Rhode Island.
Yeah, it used to be bigger back in the day.
Well, eventually it'll be much bigger in the future too.
Yeah, sure. I agree with that.
But no, but it's just amazing how much stuff goes on. It's just a tiny country, but there's a lot of things that go on here. Morning.
Yeah, well, it's been almost the center of civilization for 2,000 plus years.
Well, Israel is a natural sort of crossing over point to get to anywhere else over here, and this is one of the reasons that it's been fought over.
Yeah, because it's a good crossroads to own.
Right, and so that's why I think we should charge rent for the Americans for their bases. But anyway, no, it's an amazing place to live, and unfortunately, some of that amazingness has been locked away thanks to COVID. We spent almost a year locked up in our houses.
That's maddening.
And
it's been close to the same here in Canada. We got a medically segregated society now too. If you don't have the vax passports, you can't go to restaurants and sit in and eat, or you can't go to the movie theaters. Stuff like that. I can go in the thing, order a thing, and then leave, but I can't stay there to eat.
That's right. Well, like I said, like a week or two ago, I went in to have go to a burger place after sword fighting, and I couldn't find my green pass wasn't up to date. I'd had 2 shots. I haven't had my booster shot.
Yeah,
and that's frankly not because I have any political stand, but because I'm lazy. But,
I thought you guys were up to 4 shots.
Well, the shots are good for 6 months, and so maybe that's what you're talking about. Is that some people need a booster shot? But as far as I know, most people I know have only had the most 3 shots. I haven't talked to anybody who's had a 4th shot over here.
Okay, because I thought I heard something about 4th.
I don't know. Maybe they are. I think they've made it available. You can get shots for your kids.
Yeah.
So we haven't decided whether we're going to do that yet. But yeah. Well, hey, I actually need to get going. It's morning time over here. Everybody's about to get off to school and work and all
Yeah.
that.
It's almost morning time here. Another 8 minutes.
You got a few hours. Yeah, for midnight.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's been
well,
great
hey,
having you on. Hello.
Thanks.
Anything you would like to promote?
My red bubble. Let me put. I guess I can put that up here. Let me see.
Are you in the chat or not on my channel?
I don't see. I'm on Discord. I don't know.
Like I mean YouTube.
I'm not in YouTube right now. I was worried about going into it and making it. Hold on just a second. Let me.
Okay, just put it in the general chat there.
All right. There.
And I will grab it.
Okay.
So if
And
anybody,
so I guess. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say if anybody wants to go and grab something from what's Redbubble, it's like Teespring, Lorenzo. Get T-shirts and different other things there. I have one as well. My link's down in my thing, but that link that I just put in is for Hilal's Redbubble shop.
And we're getting together this coming Sunday at 9 p.m. my time and 2 p.m. your time.
Yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, we'll be doing that on your. I'm not sure whether I'll be putting that up on my channel. I'll be recording it and I might put it up afterwards. I want to see how things, how I want to do it. Whether I want to put any extra commentary. But we'll be on Hilal's channel, I guess for sure. I'll
get that. I'll get that figured out and tell you. That way we can let other people know who want to come and listen or talk or their own commentary.
Yeah, in the chat.
Ask questions. Yeah. So well, hey, thanks for having me on here. It was a lot of fun. It's been a while since we've chatted and
yeah, for sure. It's always usually fairly great chatting with you.
You as well. Covered a lot of topics that I wasn't really expecting. But
yeah, well, I wasn't expecting either. Well, we'll have to have a lot more, hopefully a little bit more stringent, for lack of a better way of saying it. More focused.
More focused, yeah. I mean, we're just chasing rabbit trails right now.
Yeah, we're getting people's interest.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to me jawbone here about Genesis and whatnot and comics and all that. And I'll see you, Rick, and whoever wants to come and listen on Sunday. And have a great day, guys.
Yeah, your channel's Hillel, right? Or what's your channel? Your YouTube channel?
HILL. Let me put it in here. And by the way, my username in the Redbubble store is Help Me, HLPME. And when I put together the Redbubble store, I was just kind of messing around and seeing what it was, and I thought it was funny that you take my initials, HLP. It sounds like help, right? So I just put Help Me. And I kind of regret doing that, but it stuck. So.
Okay.
But all right. Well, I'll talk to you guys.
Okay. I was gonna put a link to your channel, but I can't find it.
Oh, it's New Hero Comics.
Oh, New Hero Comics.
But more than likely, the video that we're gonna do, I'll probably put that on my other YouTube channel, which is Genesis Soul.
Genesis Soul.
Genesis Soul, and let me see here. Let me get that real quick.
Soul Genesis?
Oh, SOUL. Where is it at?
Like 3 subscribers, 1 video?
It could be. Yeah.
Oh no, this looks like it's got video games on it.
Oh, probably not that. I'll have to. I'll find that link and I'll get that to you.
Okay. I was just wanting to put it in the chat for everybody, but
I don't think there's really any videos on it. If there is, there's maybe 1 or 2.
yeah.
And I think that's where you were looking to try to get those old classes. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, Rick.
Okay. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Bye.
And we'll catch you later. See you Sunday.
See you Sunday. Bye.
Yeah, so that was very interesting, everybody. Yeah, it was great having Halal on. Haven't talked to him in a while. I messaged him a couple, I'm not sure, a couple months ago or a month back about getting some videos that he had on his channel. And he got back to me like early this morning. And started talking, and so yeah, it was an interesting discussion. I'll make sure to have the channel by Sunday for everybody. So yeah, it's been great having everybody here, talking with you all. Loved having you all here and talking. Hopefully we can all get together. If I don't get his channel on time, well, I'll share it out on Twitter, of course. And then if nothing else, I will end up uploading it here onto Cross Comics here in Rumble. So we'll catch you all later. Bye for now. God bless. Love you all. See you tomorrow on Rumble, noon Eastern Standard Time. I will be coloring up the Canadian Shield. So we'll catch you all later. Bye.